Open source software always adopts an open source license under which it is distributed. Many different licenses exist in the world today, but they have some general philosophies that seem to be the same across all. In general, copyleft licenses encourage the reusability and design structure that keeps code open source, meaning free to all to use and share. Permissive licenses are also designed to maximize code reusability. An example of a copyleft license is the GNU General Public License, or GPL. This is a commonly used license for distributing open source software to one and all in a share and share alike type mindset. Permissive licenses include phrases that say you can distribute and utilize software as long as you preserve the copyright and integrity of those licenses within the software. An example of permissive licenses are the BSD or Apache software licenses, backed by those organizations. We've mentioned that open source software is powered by the communities behind them, but who actually develops this software? When we say community, communities are comprised of individual users as well as enterprises who have adopted that software alike. This leads to a large number of users who end up contributing to the code base itself to ensure the stability and reusability of the products that they're enhancing. In this chart, you can see a list of companies that have made corporate contributions to Linux. These companies are across all sectors and see it in their interest to enhance the code base that they run within their walls. When companies like Red Hat enhance a product like Red Hat Enterprise Linux, they share that enterprise level code with one and all who adopt the product. You can see a large number of companies in this graph alone who found it in their best interest to enhance different open source software and share those enhancements with the world at large. All of these companies simultaneously benefit from the community of users outside their walls who are doing the same, enhancing and fixing bugs within the products they've adopted to run in their enterprise situations. We saw Red Hat on the graph, but who is Red Hat themselves? At Red Hat, we're a leading provider of the world's largest distribution in the enterprise sector called Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This software is used to power some of the world's largest clouds, infrastructure, web-based servers, middleware, storage solutions, and virtualization technologies. It runs on every continent and inside every sector of the market. The role Red Hat plays within the ecosystem is to ensure an enterprise license is available for the software we provide and the community supports. With Red Hat-backed licensing atop a Linux distribution, you know you can rely on a corporate entity to help provide the enterprise-level support, releases, and features that are needed by the world at large. Red Hat layers a service layer atop the open source software to enable enterprise solutions that can be trusted in any walls. While Red Hat Enterprise Linux is our flagship product from the inception of the company, we contribute in many other open source technologies, such as OpenStack, a cloud orchestration tool, or OpenShift, a container management platform. So what is a Linux distribution? Red Hat Enterprise Linux is one of a catalog of distributions that exist in the world. A Linux distribution itself is an installable operating system that is supported by a community of users and gives a specific delivered experience, package set, and toolkit to the end users who install that operating system. As there's many preferences in what this would look like, so there are many distributions of Linux that exist in the world, each of which offers the opportunity to begin from the foundation of the operating system and customize and contribute going forward. The beginning of Linux distributions all started with the kernel. The kernel serves as the main brain of the operating system that any version of Linux would run. Linus Torvalds is the creator of the very first Linux kernel, adapted from the existing Unix-like kernels of its day. Since the early 90s, the Linux kernel itself has run and been adapted forward in time. This includes contributions from all walks of life and all continents of the earth. The Linux kernel itself is licensed under the GPL, or GNU Public License. So at the core of every Linux distribution is the kernel to get started. From there, you need to continue to layer on other technologies, software from open source communities that build out the rest of the features for your operating system. Building out a Linux distribution can include any number of pieces of open source software to flesh out an entire operating system. Things that provide Windows-based graphical environments, web servers, user management toolkits, or any number of solutions that you may need in your specific distribution. Once a set of software is collected, it can then be stamped as its own distribution, forming its own community instead of users who contribute to and maintain that specific Linux distribution. Distributions can vary greatly. They can be tiny and only look to serve a single purpose. These are commonly found in things like remote control or a smart television that provides some simple features for a very specific purpose. A distribution could alternatively be very large, such as those that power some of the world's largest supercomputers. In the end, Linux distributions exist to solve almost any problem we have in the world today. Exploring through the catalog of Linux distributions is certain to reveal one that meets the needs in your business.